Time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by TheDartZone.com. Stay in the zone. TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Okay.
Welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome.
What's the date?
The 11th, December 11th.
December 11th, 2013. Dart Talk brought to you by The Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com. That's the place to go, your official
Yes.
Cosmo distributor. Welcome everybody around the world in the chat room, listening on your smartphones, on your dumb phones, listening on Stitcher.com, TuneIn.com. Mystery Mark, Steve Panuncioma, a big show. Sorry we're late. Mark's train was running something else than on time.
Yes.
Nice.
So
Mark's exhausted. We got him some green tea. We'll see if that helps him
I'm
out.
a slave to public transportation, and it decided to not accommodate me today.
It's winter. You know,
Yeah.
everybody's slow.
It's cold.
Traffic is bad. It's cold in here,
Woo.
isn't it?
Well, not here. It's cold outside.
I'm pretty cold in here.
It's all right in here.
We've got a lot to get to. We're going to go through the Soft Tip World Championship. Good luck to everybody. Everybody's kind of hanging out at the airport tonight on their way to Hong Kong for the Soft Tip World Championship. We have our PDC bracket for the World Championship. We have a preview of the men's in the Dart Players New York Championship. They're going to have that this weekend. We have results from the women who played last weekend. Right. A little bit of news, a little bit of chat, a couple of issues. Right off the bat, though, well, okay, we'll disclaim first, and then we'll congratulate after.
The views, opinions, rants, and rampages expressed on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect individually or collectively those of our sponsors, co-sponsors, wannabe hosts, hearing-impaired critics, or those with a penchant for attitudinal dysfunction. We at Dart Talk strive to provide you, the listener, with an educational, entertaining, and fun-filled experience each and every week. If after the show you, the listener, find yourself feeling uneducated, unentertained, and or bored, we at Dart Talk consider that your own problem.
Okay, so that takes care
Sounds
of
good
that.
to me.
Right off the bat, congratulations to Jeff Dodson.
Okay, why?
Jeff Dodson got his bachelor's this week.
Oh, good for him.
So here's a guy working full-time, working on his degree, and doing music for the show.
Mm-hmm.
So big attaboy to Jeff Dodson. I'm sure he's feeling on cloud nine now. He's talking about a master's, and I'm like, take a break, guy. Enjoy the holidays first before you start doing more homework. But no, I think that's
I'm pretty
great.
sure they're not going to start his master's program like right before Christmas.
Hey, you never know. It kind of depends the way they do, degree factories nowadays. I mean, I don't know how anything works. Right off the bat, let's do some news.
All right,
okay?
let's hear
He
it.
actually wrote stuff down.
Yeah.
They set a date for the North American Championship Tour Championship.
All right.
It's going to be March 14th through 16th. Right now, that's all the information I have. We'll get more to you. I know some stuff, but it's not official yet, so I can't say.
Can't bring it out.
But those are the dates, March 14th through the 16th. So that's going to be one of these tournaments that everybody needs to get to.
They just don't know where.
Right. Just a reminder for people that weren't in last week, we'll be on next Wednesday.
Yes.
But then
Then the holidays hit.
Yeah, then the holidays hit, so we're going to switch to Thursdays for a couple of weeks. So we'll do a show on the 26th, and we'll do a show on January 2nd. Now,
Both of them Thursdays.
right, and we have to do our end-of-the-year awards. So I broke it down like this, because we did change the awards around this year. So next week, we will do Newcomer of the Year.
Okay.
That's on the 18th. And then on the 26th, we will name the most outstanding performance by a darter in 2013. We have a lot of nominations. Anybody want to nominate anybody, of course, you can email darttalk@gmail.com. Yeah, you still have a little bit of time. The newcomer of the year, don't even bother.
It's already
That's a
set
done.
in stone.
Yeah, that's. I'm pretty sure that's.
It's already
done.
locked in.
That's a done deal. We have 3 really good nominees so far, but
Nobody's gonna beat 'em.
one of them's kind of running away with it.
Yeah.
So that one's a done deal. But now we were doing like last year and the year before, we did like men and women's player of the year, most outstanding player. We're not going to do that. This year we're going to name the most outstanding performance by a darter. Could be a man, could be a woman. We already have a few nominees. We have Joe Cheney sweeping the cricket in Virginia Beach. We have Gary Mawson's 9-darter at the Vegas Open, which people don't remember is almost a year ago. We have the tear that Leonard Gates went on, winning all those WDF singles and putting himself on, last I looked, on the ADO national team and only playing like half the year, and a few more nominations. So if anybody's got nominations for most outstanding performance, by all means, send them to darttalk@gmail.com or post them on our Facebook page. They'll be given due consideration. And then, so we combine the men and women. So it's going to be the Dart Person of the Year, like Time does their Man of the Year, Person of the Year. We're going to do the Dart Talk Person of the Year, and that will be named January 2nd. So you guys, I'll make sure you tune into that one.
When
and
do we
send in
when
your
do we name the
nominations.
Jack Wagon of the year?
Yeah, when are we going to do Jack Wagon?
We might as well. We should do it on
we'll
the
take
second.
We're still taking
We
nominations
should do it on
for
the
Jack
second. We'll
Wagon
do
of
it
the Year.
before the Player of the Year.
Okay, so we'll do Jack Wagon. Let me write that down. So we're going to
Yeah.
do Jack Wagon of the Year on January 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack Wagon. Okay. That was a popular segment
Yes,
last year. It's kind of funny what people gravitate toward. But it's all in
It's all good fun. Right.
All in good fun. So what do you want to do first? Let's talk ladies.
Let's talk ladies.
Right. They did the Dart Players New York Championship last weekend. $1,000.
Which we previewed.
Well, $1,000 first prize, which is the second biggest money event for women of the year, with the exception of the NWDS events. There was one in Vegas in April, and we just had one in New Orleans. Those paid more. But outside of that, this pays more than any women's event anywhere, including like the ADO National Championship and stuff like that, which, is kind of like, I know it's a club championship and everything, but really you ought to make it worth somebody's while if they win.
Right.
Give them some money so they can go to a couple of more tournaments at least, a mere pittance. Anyway, so let's, I have results, and we'll do them all. For the women. Now, the women played best of 7 in the quarters, best of 9 in the semis, and best of 11 for the final. So top 8, and congrats to all the women who played, because it involved, playing more than one event and stuff like that, and they did pretty well. Top 8 was Gloria Gutierrez, Audrey Garcia, Marie McHugh, and Jackie Clark. Top 4 was Nikki Carey and Deborah Burkich. Second place, Robin Curry, which I believe we predicted.
I believe.
And the
That's
winner,
correct.
Callie West. So the Whisper Twins in the finals. According to what I have here, Robin took out outs of 93 and 104.
Impressive.
And Callie took out a 126 on the bull.
All right.
4 19s and a
Yep.
bull, one would think. So high level of play. And
Is there
that
any
went-
other way?
Yeah. On 126? Well, yeah,
Yeah,
there's
you-
lots
yeah.
of ways to do
Well,
it.
yeah.
I mean, there's one. Generally, you want to leave a bull for your
Yeah.
you want a whack at the bull on your last start, so you don't go 20s there,
Right.
right? But I mean, if you threw a trip 20 on your first start, you could do all sorts of stuff, right? Fat 16,
Sure, sure.
whatever. So, yeah, that's nice. Well, okay, Whisper Twins, Callie wins it. Robin won the NWDS, so the queens of
They're doing
American darts, right? Got it at least right now. Robin and Callie. Congrats to them. Looks like a high level of play. And it's the men's turn this weekend, and we actually have a
preview.
Yeah, we'll do a preview of that in a little bit. I'm kind of rambling. What are we? 10 minutes in? We could do the men now.
Sure.
Can we do the men in 5 minutes? I think we can.
Yes.
Well, let's attempt it. Let's attempt to do the men. Anthony Eugenia was kind enough to send me the bracket. So can you see that from there? Let me run through the first round matches.
I can see
If you
Widmeyer,
you
but
can
no,
see, okay, so
not very
Widmeyer's
well.
Jimmy Widmeyer in the first round, which is all best of 11. Widmeyer's playing Joe Swick, which, they're good buddies and stuff. And Swick is one of these guys that can play if he gets off the golf course. You know, he plays golf all the time, so he
Good for
doesn't
him.
put. I'm not sure he puts as much time into darts as he used to, but a dangerous player. Interesting match. Widmer's got to be the chalk there, right? So you got to. No offense, Joe, but I got to take Wid there. AVK, Andrew Van Coverden against Rich Hammond. Young against old. Tall against not so tall. Bespeckled against no glasses. I don't know. You can
What
go,
else you
go
got?
anywhere. I don't know. It's funny. You know, I played Rich Hammond in, I think I played him in Atlantic City. And, you know, he kind of played good in spots, but, you know, wasn't that consistent. I played Andrew in Vegas, and he scored well and finished. He had trouble finishing. So it's kind of hard. That's a tough call. 8 and 9 seeds playing each other. I'll take Wid to take that whole quarter.
There you go. Right.
I'm not going to pick Andrew and Rich. I mean, that'll probably go down in the last leg. The next bracket is George Timpone against Matt Traub and Gary French against Tim O'Gorman. This is like that NCAA thing where you take the 12 seed. Mm-hmm. I mean, Garrett's a great player. Tim's a great player, too. I haven't seen him, so I don't know what kind of form he's in. I know George has been playing well. You know what? Let me take O'Gorman, but I'll take George. So we'll go chalk in the top half. We'll go. So one semi we'll pick.
Jim against George?
Yeah, Timpone against Widmer, which I believe is a rematch. I think George beat him in the final last year. Bottom half of the bracket, let's see. Bob Garzone against Timmy O'Brien. Jim Newman against T.J. DeArmas. No, we need to take something that's not chalk. Let's go with Jim Newman there out of those four. So Bob Garzone's not going to Facebook me anymore, but I'll take Jim Newman there. I'll take Jim.
Is that what you're worried about?
Yeah, no, I'm not really worried about it. Actually, Bob's been playing good all year. Bob came real close to cleaning some people out in Atlantic City, so he was playing good. Then I think with Bob, it's one of these guys where he doesn't get as much time to play as he'd like, which, you know, maybe you could say that about everybody.
Right.
Pat Gallagher against Paul Burns, Ryan Vanderwhite against Bill DeWitt. Tough matches. You know what? That would be interesting if Gallagher could get by Ryan Vanderwhite. That's a big ask. I don't know. And we took Jim Newman. Yeah, let's go upsets in the bottom half. We'll take Newman and Gallagher in one semi.
Okay.
All right, so we'll take Newman and Gallagher in one semi, and then chalk in the top half.
Right. George and Jim.
George Timpone and Widmer. What do you think? This is going to be interesting. Well, here's the thing. I mean, George won it last year. The odds are repeating, not good. I don't know. What do you think? Got anything on this? Got a hunch?
Well, I mean, I would probably, I guess I would go against the odds of repeating and take Jim Widmer over George Timpone and
just to even it out
Yeah.
because George got him last year. That's a real gambler theory.
sure. Well, it's also a bracket just for fun, so you
Well,
get to
yeah,
do
that's
whatever
true.
you want.
Yeah, they don't have a pool for this one.
Right.
The other one's like dead serious.
Yeah.
A whole $10. Okay, so what do you want to do? You want to take Widmer out of the top half?
Yeah,
and then you know what? Let's take Pat Gallagher over Jim Newman.
For the final,
Yeah.
in the final to
So
get
that
to
would
the finals.
that would put Gallagher against Wid, and Wid would be like a huge favorite.
Yeah.
I would think. You know,
Well, being the number one seed and all,
I'll leave it to you. You want Gallagher or Widmer? Who are you picking to win?
I'll take Widmer.
Gonna take Widmer. Chalk. All right. Can't, I don't
And
think
you're
you make
usually the
anything.
chalk guy.
Well, you know, I take, you know, I mean, to be honest with you, like Matt Traub, I've never seen play. Bill DeWitt, I don't know if I've seen him play or not. The rest of these guys I've at least seen play. But, you know, it's not like I see him every week. So this is where the chat room ought to weigh in. But what are we taking? Widmer over Gallagher?
Yeah.
All right. It should be good. I asked Anthony to send me a link to the live stream. And if I get it, I'll post it on the Dart Talk Facebook page. Because this is, I think, would very much be worth watching. Watching these guys bang
To
it out
start
on
on Saturday.
And there's actually, I believe on Sunday, there's something going on in Long Island. So if anybody, if they're going to be streaming that, I know Phil Freed might be in the chat room. If anybody's got a link to Sunday's
I
Long
hope it's
Island
not
thing,
outside.
go ahead and post it on the Dart Talk Facebook page, and we'll share it out so people can find it. Because I think that'd be worth watching. I want to check some of these guys out that I've heard of, but I've never really had a chance to watch closely. Because I'm a fan, let's face it. So, okay, let's take our first break. We took care of DPNY. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mark and Steve, and we'll be right back.
You are now and forevermore warned that you consume this show at your own risk, and that Dart Talk cannot be brought to justice in any court or by any government, including and not restricted to the grand spaghetti monster of the Triple 20.
Okay, back for the second quarter, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. By the way, it was kind of funny. I got some new flights. I tried these. They're fantails.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of hybrid flights where they're wider at the top but narrower at the bottom, but they're not like pear-shaped where it's symmetrical. They kind of like dig in a little. There's a little cutout kind of thing. And
did you like them?
They fly really nice. And
yeah.
The thing I like about them is I changed to like light purple, just to try a different color because I usually just go red, white, and blue. You can barely see the flights in the board. They have a very low profile. So I'm using like these titanium shafts, I guess now with the fantails, and the darts go in really level, and they feel really, really light. And I'm really excited about next year. Now that I have my
so
equipment
you're a fan
problems.
of the purple.
I'm getting to be. I'm getting to be because
Would you
they're kind of
prefer
translucent.
not to see? Would you prefer
yeah.
not to see your flight in the board?
Yeah, I think flights are distracting. I remember talking. I think it was to Bruce Davey once, and Bruce Davey's like, "Well, I throw two in there, and I just try to wang one right through the flights on the third dart." And I'm like, "Well, okay, you throw 88-gram darts, it'll probably work." But we love you, Bruce. No, it was kind of interesting. because I've monkeyed around with speed flights and stuff, and because they're a lower profile, you can see the board better, and the better you see the board, of course, in theory anyway, it helps out your
Everything's a
hand-eye
theory.
coordination if you can actually see what you're hitting at. So we'll keep you guys updated on the fantail experience, but it was kind of interesting. I found those. I was pleasantly surprised with those because I usually play the Rockets, which are a little bit like they look sort of like full size flights, but actually they're cut sharper from the edge of the fin to the top of the flight. There's a more acute angle there, so they're quicker through the air. So they're kind of like hybrid speed flights, but they're bigger. So you have a bigger
Does
margin
it help
for
you
air.
with your lighter darts?
They've been great. The Rockets have been great. I've been using them for like a year and a half. And they've been great. The fantails, I thought, my dart might wiggle or something in the air, but they've been just zipping right in there. So the smaller the flight that you can use, the better off you're going to be, is kind of my theory on that. So kind of interesting. Not a big fan of the slick sticks, but well, never mind. Anyway,
Okay.
that's well.
I
No, I didn't
digress.
get in this. Well, because I go out to kind of practice, and I run into a newbie and show him how to play 301, and he was all proud about how he Robin Hooded a dart. And I'm like, okay, if you're Robin Hooding a dart after playing like a month, you're doing really well because you're throwing the same dart twice. Hey, that's a lot of the ball game right there. If you can, repeating stroke and whatnot. And then I showed him, the Cosmo system where, you can't Robin Hood it. And he was just, his jaw dropped. He's like, oh, that's so cool. So I'm like, yeah, got to get yourself a set. Okay, so where are we now? And talk some soft tip.
We're 6 minutes into the second
Well, okay,
quarter.
okay. There's one thing that kind of came up that a friend of mine posted. I wanted to get your reaction on, right?
Sure.
So the PDC changed the system that they had to play in their tournaments, and they went to a Q school system a couple of years ago, just like the PGA
golf,
Tour. Right. You need a tour card, and they kind of had it leveled out where if you went for the tour card but didn't get it, you could play in this or you could play in that. And apparently they've switched that around. And I was really happy for Jeff Smith. He qualified, went to the Q school, and won it. And then last year, Royden Lamb got through, who's from the Far East. And somebody posted something about how, hey, what about me going through Q school? And I was just sort of like, unless you can go over and play on the tour, it doesn't really do much good to go
get
through
your
Q
card.
school.
Right.
Like Jeff Smith never had the opportunity to go over there and play more than a couple of times, and I think Royden Lamb only played twice. So if that's all you can do, if you get your tour card and you can't play in any tournament, so you can't climb up in the rankings to get into the big money tournaments, right? Why bother trying to qualify at all?
Well, I mean, other than good competition.
Well, okay. So just treat it like just any other tournament?
Yeah. But I agree with you. It doesn't make much sense, though, because there's an end to it all, and if you can't really progress in the end game, why do it?
Well, and that's kind of the, I go back and forth on this because, if you look at like the North American Championship Tour, there's something at the end of the road aside from, winning every event that you enter and, making the prize money that's there is, the bonus was that if you finished on the top of the money list, you'd get in the World Championship, right?
Do you get anything for qualifying in Q school other than your card? I mean,
I don't think so.
that's it.
No, that's it.
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
even sure there's prize money. So
Right.
I'm kind of like, well, why would you want to do that unless you could play on the tour? Like,
Yeah.
so I'm a
Unless
little
they deem it
confused.
I don't know. Unless they deem it necessary that just playing in their two tournaments is what they want to do and try and win some money.
Well, I'm thinking talk them out of it. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, if you've got $1,000 and you want to spend it going to the tour school, I would say save your $1,000 and go play, 2 big events in America instead.
Right.
Like, what is the point of going over there? Like, it's a little different. Like, if you look at Darren Young and Jimmy Widmer, they're going over to play in the World Championship, right? And that was like a cumulative, they qualified by, they had to go to a bunch of events and, do well and stuff like that. But this strikes me as being sort of like a bad idea. I don't want to be, and I kind of like apologize because, he posted it and some of his friends are like, oh, you should go for it. You should go for it. Well, yeah, in theory you should, but if you're being practical about it and you're not a millionaire, it's like, why wouldn't you go and play like the NWDS events that pay $4,000 to the winner? Go win a couple of those. Now you've got $8,000. Go to the tour school next year and now you'll have like, $6,500 to go over to England a few times.
Right.
They used to have it
play on the
structured.
tour?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
used to have it structured pretty well, where you could go over there and play like a UK qualifier and a PDPA event. And if you went over there for like 13 days, you could literally play 3 weekends in a row that totaled 6 or 7 events. Okay, now that seems like if you got a place where you can crash, that seems
That's
like
a good
if you
idea.
could if you could do that like 3 or 4 times a year, I think you'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't do that, I don't see why you should even consider it. Play the events here. And again, this is I guess I'm going to be harping on this for a while. We need to raise the events here to
Right.
a high enough profile where you're better off playing here. Well, I think you are anyway, but you're better off playing here than trying to go play overseas. Like, okay, we'll do the soft tip thing now. I'm very irritated with the Darts Live thing. Because the way they're structuring it, it's very difficult for Americans to get that PDC spot because it's based on your overall performance in all of the stages.
Mm-hmm.
They had one in France, they had one in Korea, they had one in America, and they had 5 in Hong Kong. So if you live in Hong Kong, I'm pretty sure it's doable. If you live in America, how much is it going to cost you? Just an airfare alone to go to Hong Kong 5 times,
Right.
and go to Korea and go to France and go to Vegas, it's going to cost you $7,000 in airfare. Just in airfare alone.
Now, do all these people play in every event?
Well, there's only one event. I mean, oh, you mean in every stage?
Yeah.
Well, some people do, but the 3 was the minimum, so a lot of people just played 3. And
Right.
because they had one in Vegas, right, they went to Hong Kong twice, or they went to Hong Kong once and Korea once.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever. It just strikes me as being a very difficult way for an American to get into the PDC championship if you have to go to 7 events that are in different countries and 1 event here. I wish there was some way I could twist their arm and make them change that. No, because what they should do, in my opinion, is they should have whoever wins that big grand final they're having this weekend. That's the person that should go.
Yeah.
Right? And I understand, okay, people
They should
that
all
are
play into the grand final.
well, they are anyway.
right.
Right? But the grand final's like $100,000. That's the tournament where it's like, okay, this is the guy we should send.
Yeah.
It's not the guy who went around and won stage 2 and won stage 4 and was out in the first round of the grand final.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if the idea of your tour is to identify your best player and send your best representative to this fantastic event, which is the closest thing darts has to the Olympics, is the PDC World Championship. It's the closest thing. Best players in the world, people qualifying from all over the world. Bring a game, right? Or you're going to look very foolish getting killed up there, right? But okay. I mean, Darren's going to be prepared. Darren's been playing long format 501 all year long. Between the PDC and the NWDS events, he's going to be way more prepared than he would have been if he just played the Diddle Tour like he has been doing, before the PDC came
Right.
back and before the NWDS and stuff. Jimmy Widmer, on the other hand, is kind of stuck on the Diddle Tour, but he does get to play the DPNY long format 501, so he'll be better prepared for Lakeside than he would have been if all he did was play the Diddle Tour. He just got, I don't know if he's back yet, he went to Holland and played in the Dutch Masters. Okay, he didn't win a match. He got beat by 2 really good players. Convincingly, I think he lost to Martin Adams by a break, and Bunning beat him 5-1. Fly halfway around the world to play a race to 5 is like...
A little
It's almost
ridiculous.
like the Diddle Tour. It just
Yeah.
takes 20 minutes longer.
Right.
But it seems to me if you're going to be traveling that far, you should at least be playing in something like the Golden Harvest used to be, or like Le Scratch, or like the NWDS, where you're going to play around Robin Saturday, get tuned up, get dialed in, and then go for it on
Yeah.
Sunday. I have to think that would make it more worthwhile to travel that far, right?
Sure.
So I don't know.
Well, it all
I'm
goes
very
back.
curious to see how these guys do.
It goes back to what we were talking about planning and planning what
Yeah,
tournaments you want to go to.
prioritizing.
And if you're
Right.
going to go for your cue card, are your priorities to play on that tour, or why go for your if your priorities are only going to be able to play one, why do it?
Yeah, I don't see why.
Whereas you could pick something else if you figured it out.
Yeah, I mean it's expensive to go to Europe,
Mm-hmm.
right? I assume airfare's expensive. Train tickets are expensive. Hotels are expensive. Hotels in England, from what I hear, are pretty pricey, and the only kind of discount hotels they have are not quite like
Hostels?
no, but I don't know. What's the age on a hostel? 25 and under?
Oh, I don't know. Never been.
They have adult hostels.
Do they?
Yeah, I don't know what that horror movie would look like.
I don't either.
My loofah. Oh God, I got to get that image out of my
All
mind.
right.
And here's so a college buddy of mine. This is like some personal time, guys. A college buddy of mine asked me to list 10 books I've read that kind of stayed with me, right? So I list 10 books, and I'm immediately like, oh, I forgot this one. I forgot this one. My youngest brother, I had to tutor him, when I was in college. So he didn't really like to read much. So I gave him Dead Solid Perfect by Dan Jenkins. Funniest sports book ever, best golf book ever written. And I could hear him just laughing too. It was the best book he's read to this day. So he posts on Facebook, hey, you forgot that book. I'm like, oh. Now I forgot the thing with the coffins. I forgot William Gibson's Neuromancer,
Okay.
the first cyberpunk fiction. It was a fantastic book, but in what is... It's now Japan, but in the future, where whatever Japan is called, you sleep in a coffin that it's like a little hotel. It's like your room is the size of a coffin, and then they have those. What are the Tempur-Pedic? What are the foamy?
The mattresses?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they actually have those in the
Really?
book, in the fiction. Yeah. Whatever you call those things that form to whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Spacing out. All right, let's take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll go through. I'll be irritated, but we'll go through the soft tip draw and talk about some things. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mark and Steve. You'll be right back.
The views and opinions expressed on Dart Talk are those of the hosts. They in no way should be misrepresented, misinterpreted, or made to claim that the universe is against you, your family, your city, or the darting community at large.
Okay, back for the second half, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Also, many thanks, Windy City Fabricators and Redwood Darts. Actually, somebody this newbie threw Redwood Darts for the, he's like, "Can I try your darts?" I'm like, "Sure, go ahead." Just can't believe how great they are.
Really?
This
Was
bartender
he
now.
throwing bar darts, or did he
Yeah.
have his own? He was throwing bar
No,
darts.
he's throwing bar darts, but they're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're not like plastic. They're actually like piranhas or something. And then this one bartender, instead of borrowing this guy's Adrian Lewis darts, is like, no, I got to use Steve's darts. It's like, oh, wow, okay. I'm like, you guys can buy these. They're
Yeah.
expensive, but they are available. Anyway, so, okay. I don't know what's going on in the chat room. Everybody's having something. Apparently, somebody couldn't make it. Eduardo Santos from the Philippines couldn't get out of his country, so he's being replaced by Colin Osborne, which is bad news for Benny Dersch. I took a little extra time to look at these brackets, and the first thing I noticed is all the Americans are in one half of the bracket, and Chris White as well is in that same half. So I'm like, wow, this is horrible. If and they're taking action on this stuff. So, I mean, all the Americans that are seated the highest are Scotty Kirchner and Benny Dersch, and they're in the same quarter, right? Rich Espinoza is 35th. He's in the same half, or he's in the same quarter. Larry Butler, Big Dog, Randy Van Duerson are all in the same quarter. So only one of them is going to make it throrough to possibly the semis. Plus, they're in there with Royden Lamb. And Lord knows who's going to come out of the bottom 48, but Daryl Fitton's in there as well. And, some of these guys that are seated, 45th is because they played the minimum, right? I mean, they didn't play 8 times, right? So this is kind of, talk about a bracket of death. Well, I didn't think the America's World Cup draw was all that great, but this is horrible. And then the top half of that draw, Gunnar, Ray Carver, Ronald Briones, Stephen Bunting are all in the same quarter. I mean, that's a little bit easier. But still, I mean, I'm looking at Ray's path here. He's got to play Haruki Mirumatsu, which I'm pretty sure Ray's beaten him before. But the round after that, he's looking at Gunnar. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty tough road to get into the Final Four. And then on the other half, I'm looking at Paul Lim, and I'm looking to see who can threaten him. Christian Perez is the 9 seed. Yuji Iguchi is there. He had a good year. Kei Uzami. I mean, they were there last year, but under no circumstances would anybody not bet on Paul to at least make the semi out of this group. And then in the other group, Boris Kretschmar is the 4 seed. We have a new nickname for him.
I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, the Creature.
The Creature.
Boris the Creature Kretschmar. He has a nice ring to it, I think.
Sure.
Tony Martin's in that quarter. Robert Madra. I like the way he throws. He's in that quarter. Some of the good Japanese guys. Adrian Gray's in that quarter. and then all the TBDs, all the people that
Yeah.
are playing into the Saturday players. So I mean, it's going to be weird. I mean, you can't really. I'll post odds. Maybe like it's supposed to be on at I think 2 a.m. Central Time on Sunday. So I'll post our odds like at 11 Central
Okay.
to help handicap, for anybody that's trying to get
11
action down. You can't do it in America, I don't think,
Right.
but I'm sure some people know a workaround.
11
or
in the
something.
morning? Or are you going to do it 11?
No, 11 at
11
night.
at night.
11
3 hours
11
before.
Yeah, 3 hours
3 hours
before.
before.
So you can, since you can't get like the racing form, will be the racing form for this tournament. It'll be interesting. We'll see how that goes.
Santos withdrew from the Ali Pali, not the DL event.
Oh, well then, how did Santos even get in the Ali Pali? Was he the Philippine representative?
I don't know.
Because
You'll have to
okay.
ask Sharon that.
All right. And he was replaced with Colin Osborne. Yeah, well, that's I don't know. They wouldn't reschedule it. It's not going to matter. He wasn't going to win. Is he even on your bracket sheet?
Who?
Santos. Did you have him even getting out of the first round
In what? Oh, in the PDC?
in your PDC bracket?
I don't even think he was on it.
Was Colin Osborne?
No. I don't remember either one
Well,
of those
one of
names.
them's got to be on it, or your bracket's incomplete, dude. That's going to cost us $11 billion. We're going to be in a pool for that thing. We have to win.
I just printed it up. I didn't write it out.
Really? Well, I mean, who do you like here? I mean, just based on this. I mean, there's some good players that are playing in, but honestly,
Well, last week we just took who are
right.
were
But
the best American.
now,
but
when you
all of a
look at
sudden
the
they're gonna-
Americans, they're
Yeah.
I mean, you can take 2 Americans.
and that's it, right?
What do they call it? Where it wasn't buckets. How did they do the World Cup draw? You were in a. Did they call it? You were in a bucket, and you had to take somebody out of this bucket, somebody out of that bucket. Did you see the World Cup draw?
For the Americans,
Yeah.
yeah, it's brutal.
Well, I mean, did you see the actual
no,
them
I
doing the
didn't.
draw?
No,
Oh,
no.
I just. You tell me
I,
you
well,
can't
the
rig
only thing I
that.
saw was they had some guy holding up and
I mean, Brazil and Argentina have buys basically into the
yeah,
and we're like somebody's telling me Portugal ain't that good, and I'm like, oh yeah,
they only have the best side, one of the best players in the world.
yeah. I don't. It's going to come down to we have to beat Guyana like 5-1, and then get 2 draws.
Yeah,
Right?
No, it's a
That
tou-
would probably
it's a
do
tough
it.
draw.
That would probably do it.
yeah.
Get an early goal, and then just have 11 guys
Well, then
lined
plus
up
the-
in front of the goal.
Plus, they have the longest travel out of any World Cup team. They have to travel 9,000 miles for 3 matches.
I just so does everybody else. I mean, I don't
No,
know.
they
that-
have more miles than anybody.
I know, but the guys in their group have to go to the same places, right? I mean, Portugal's got to show up when we play them, and I don't know. It didn't look to me like we had any friends doing the draw. I mean, it was about the worst draw we could have gotten, unless we were in a group with I don't know Germany, Italy, and France or something.
Right.
I mean, I don't. And somebody was like saying, soccer's kind of like soft tip, and who cares? I played soccer in high school in Indiana, where soccer is huge because there's a lot of small farm schools that can't afford football teams. So everybody plays soccer, and it's like a big deal. It's like soccer and basketball in Indiana is like, that's it. That's everything, right? And
Well, it's
I don't
also
know,
it's the most popular sport in the world.
well, I can't speak for the world, but I like the World Cup. Like the MLS, I can't watch
Right.
and all this other stuff. I don't even understand how they do all these leagues. Premier League, Champions, UEFA. I don't know what all that stuff is. All I know is the World Cup fascinates me. I like watching the Brazilians play Brazilian soccer against the Dutch playing Dutch soccer, the Germans playing German soccer, or all that stuff. I mean, because the styles are different. Right. So I like the
Yeah.
contrast in styles and watching these guys, try to express themselves on the pitch, right? I like that. So, and I root for the Americans, but
Well, of course.
we never,
No, I like the World Cup too. I think it's a big deal.
yeah, well, I don't know. As far as like, the darts World Cup goes, I mean, I don't even know who to take out of this. I mean, if you're going to take 3 Americans, you almost have to take Ray Carver. He's
For
the,
the
only
draw-
Amer-
the
he's
draw
the
he's
only
got,
American.
yeah.
He's the only American in that quarter.
Right. So you got to take them.
So you got to take Ray Carver and 2 other guys.
Right.
Of all the other Americans.
They're all gonna
and it's
knock
like,
each
look,
other out.
Larry Butler's going to have to play big dog,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you take one of those two, and then you take either Benny Dursch or Scotty Kirchner is the best you could possibly do. And Benny Dursch, I don't know. Scotty Kirchner's got to play Chris White if Chris gets that far. Benny Dursch has to play Eduardo
Well,
Santos.
I think last
Joe
week I took Big
Fitton.
Dog, so I'll stick with him.
So you're going to stick with Big Dog? Well, then I'll take Larry.
All right.
So I'll take Ray, Larry, and I think I took Chris White. I think I'll stay with Chris White and hope I don't run into Scotty Kirchner anytime soon.
Right.
Unbelievable. All right, we'll take our last break, and then we'll do our PDC bracket. You're listening to Dart Talk with Mark and Steve. We'll be right back.
All right.
Dart Talk agrees to adhere to the Geneva Convention in treating fairly its prisoners in their war against lackluster darting administration and behaviour.
Okay, back for the fourth quarter, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
The DartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. I haven't been bashed this bad in the chat room in a long time.
They're
I
coming at us.
don't know what to say except, you were late. I blame it all on you.
Well,
man.
yeah, I mean, that's fine.
All right,
Go ahead.
so
It's all my fault. Apparently, I was unprepared.
okay, well, if the world is announcing changes to the 2014, good. I can't wait to see them. I heard rumors that they were going to make a change. I actually lobbied Robert Heckman, and I'm like, look, Robert, you can't do it this way. This is ridiculous. But, Darts Live, they have a plan, and they do their plan, and, we'll see
Right.
what happens.
But,
I think that the winner of the grand final should be the guy that gets the PDC spot. That's what I think. But,
Right.
who am I?
well, and the bracket does have Osborne on it instead
Your
of
PDC
Santos,
bracket does,
but
yeah.
I just
so.
flew over it because it's a play-in game, and I didn't give him a chance. So I didn't notice that it was Osborne instead
It
of
doesn't
Santos.
matter because Dolan's going to beat
Right.
either one of them. I mean, Colin Osborne is one of the most overrated players I've ever seen. I mean, at one point he was up pretty high in the ratings, but I've never seen the guy play great over an extended period of time, over an extended tournament. I mean, obviously he has, but I don't see every year at the PDC there seems to be like a Kirk Shepard that somehow has a whammy and nobody can hit a double against, and he just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. Mark Webster had a really good run. He beat Taylor a couple of years ago, right? So there always seems to be somebody that kind of like gets way, way higher than you would expect. But, where's Kirk Shepard now, right? Where's Mark Webster now? I mean, these guys do good in this one tournament, and they're going to be up in the money list for an entire year, but that doesn't mean I'm putting my hard-earned shekels on these guys because they had a good week and, everybody messed up against them. See what I'm saying? So if you're looking to, like, make wagers – or be an informed fan, don't believe the hype is all I'm saying. So Colin Osborne, Santos. The way Brendan Dolan's been playing this year, it's his match to lose. Now, there's a lot of matches. You went through the first round, and we have to submit our bracket. So let's run through the.
Is this the bracket we're submitting?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make some changes, but let's just. You have some first round upsets.
I went with a couple.
Let's talk about those.
I took Joe Cullen over Peter Wright,
and you did that. Why? Did you have any particular reason, or was that just a hunch thing?
It's just a hunch. It's like my NCAA bracket pool. They're mostly hunches.
Well, you could circle that one because here's a pen.
I got a pen.
Well, there's no way Joe Cullen beats Peter Wright.
Okay.
Peter Wright is one of these guys that I keep thinking is going to make a move up to get to kind of like where Wes Newton territory is, like right around 8, 7, 6. And to do that, you have to go deep in this tournament. And maybe this is the year Peter Wright does it. So under no circumstances is Joe Cullen going to stand in this way. I mean, there's other guys may stand in this way, but it ain't going to be Joe Cullen. All right, who else you got?
I took Jarkko Kamula over Mark Walsh.
And because he has more Ks in his name than Mark Walsh?
Yeah.
Because you like Jarkko?
Yeah, Kamula.
Okay, well, Mark Walsh is one of these guys, one of these veteran guys that, I don't know, if the guy's on, he's almost impossible to beat. But, every time I watch him, he's not on. He's on to the point where I see him, and then he, plays bad.
So it's all your fault. You're gooching him.
Right, I'm gooching him. Okay, you got Jarkko over Mark Walsh.
Stuart
Classify
Kellett.
that as a mild upset. Stuart Kellett.
Kellett over Paul Nicholson.
And how'd you come up with that one? You like guys with the letter K in their name?
You think I have a reason for these?
Okay, well, okay. If you don't have a reason, that's fine. I just wondered. Paul Nicholson losing in the first round to Stuart Kellett. Wow, that would be disastrous for Nicholson. I mean, that would be like the end of his career. I can't really see. He does so well.
So you're going to nix this one too,
well, yeah, because he does so well against good players. Nicholson does.
Okay.
I mean, he doesn't always win, but how many people have beaten Taylor on TV twice? I mean. Stuart Kellett's a good player. I mean, that's going to be a tough first-round match, but I mean, I
don't
can't
see it happen.
No. What other upsets you got?
Dean Winstanley beating Richie Burnett.
Now, that's interesting. That's interesting because, Winstanley's been underachieving since he got on the tour, since he came over from the BDO.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thought he was going to be like Robert Thornton, and he'd be in the top 16 in 6 months, and it hasn't worked out that way. And again, this is his chance. Richie Burnett, I don't know what to make of the guy. I mean, I used to think that his best days were behind him, and he'd been where he was going. But, he's actually had some good showings in the last 12, 14 months. So that's going to be a tough one. You're going to see that match is like probably closer to pick'em than a lot of the other first-round matches are. But, Winstanley, I'm not going to stand your way on that. You want to take Winstanley? I like that.
All right, good.
What else you got?
As far as upsets go, that's it.
For the entire
round.
first round?
Yeah.
You had 4 upsets, and some of them were just
did
like...
I miss a page?
Yeah, you missed a whole page. There you go.
Here we go.
Woo! See, it is good I came
All
in.
right. Oh, I took Darren Young over Mervyn King.
Now, how'd you come up with that one?
That's just a United
Homer.
States
Just
thing.
being a homer.
Being a homer. Jumping on a bandwagon, whatever you want to say.
Well, okay, we talked about this. We talked about
I'd like
this
to see him win,
offline.
so I'd like to see him win. So I picked
everybody
him.
would. Everybody would like to see Darren win.
So I picked him.
It's kind of weird because
I didn't pick him to win the next one.
Well, no, you have him losing to Ronnie Baxter,
Right.
and it's kind of like, I'm pretty sure most people consider that Mervyn King's in better form right now
Right.
than Ronnie Baxter. So if you get by Mervyn King,
Why can't you be Ronnie Baxter?
yeah, and Darren knows Ronnie very well. I don't know how well he knows Mervyn, and what I was telling you before the show, which is part of the reason we're 5 minutes late, Phil, is Mervyn King. This is like he's one of the guys that's going to have a lot of pressure on him. A lot of these guys don't want to fall out of the top 32. They don't want to have to start playing seeded players early, and Mervyn King is kind of sitting there where, if he has a good tournament where he makes top 16, top 8, he's set for the year.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Right.
going to be in all the TV tournaments. Life is going to be good. And, it's not so much that you can coast, but at least you know that you're going to have this guaranteed income, even
Right.
if you don't win a leg, right? Because all these, if you're in the top 32 in these TV matches, you're kind of guaranteed money anyway. So it's very important for these guys to get in the top 32, in the top 16, top 12, what have you,
Yeah.
get into the, Premier League and all that stuff, get more attention for yourself so it's easier to attract sponsors, all of that stuff. So Mervyn King has, a lot on the line.
Riding on this, yeah.
And Darren Young is not burdened by any expectations except the expectations he puts on himself.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in England is expecting Darren Young to win this tournament. Right? Nobody in England is expecting Darren Young to get out of the first or second round, I would
Right.
think. Darren's going to be his 5th year, I think, in a row going over there. And I thought he played okay last year. I thought he played better last year, especially at the beginning of his last match than he did the years before. And I think he'll be better prepared. So to take Darren against Mervyn is like, if you're going to do that, I would take him against Ronnie
You'd take him
Baxter
in the next
too.
round, right.
Absolutely. I mean, if the funny thing is when you look at the dates, how long in between matches it is between first and second rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like a completely different tournament.
I didn't have the
So-
time to do that.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to
That
get.
did not
we're
factor.
going to have to.
That did not factor into my
We're going to have
picks.
to talk about this. We're going to have to talk about this, later in the show, or after the show about
All right.
the way you
I
spend
also
your
took
time.
Steve
but-
Brown over Andy Smith.
Yeah, Steve Brown's kind of funny. He was a young up-and-comer who, everybody thought was, going to crack the top 32, going to be a major player. He started this, little school and everything. Everything was fine. And I don't know, he stopped winning matches. And, now he's one of these guys that has to work his way back up. So this is his chance. I mean, Andy Smith, I don't know. Good solid player, but not the kind of player that anybody considers spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be nice if the Steve Brown from 18, 21 months ago shows up, then I would definitely I'll go for that if you want, but I would like to see Steve Brown win. Let's put it that way. I would
Right.
like to see Steve Brown win that match. I'd get a kick out of that.
And then my last upset of the first round would be Yeli Clausen over Jamie Caven.
Have you? Well, okay. That's. I can't even begin to tell you the error of your ways on that one.
Okay.
Well, no,
Please-
because
please
Yeli
do.
Clausen's coming
Please do.
back. Yeli Clausen's coming back, and Yeli Clausen is playing nowhere near the way Yeli Clausen was playing 2-3 years ago. I mean, the guy's playing every time I've seen him play, he's played horrible. Just played horrible. His rhythm has changed. He doesn't look confident. His form actually it looks to me, and maybe this isn't true. It's just an impression I got. It looks to me like his arm's in a different position, right? He looks like he's really chicken winging it, and the guy is just really out of it. He's out of sorts. He's not playing well.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas Jamie Caven, Jamie Caven has been working his way up, and probably, if I was Jamie Caven, I would be thinking, this is it. This is my chance. This is my year to really, go deep and establish myself as one of the top players on the tour. So, wow. You're taking Yeli Clausen? It seems to me you're
Apparently
taking
not.
you just take people with K's in their name is kind of what it looks like to me. And then you had that's on the other page. You don't have you're taking Brendan Dolan over
Yes.
Colin Osborne
Yeah.
there, right? Yeah. Colin Osborne,
Well,
ain't
Osborne
sending
hasn't
me a
even
Christmas
won.
card
He has to
anytime
play
soon.
in the playing game.
Okay, well let's look at who do you have winning? Let's put it that way
I have Adrian Lewis over Phil Taylor.
in the final, and who's your semi?
Adrian Lewis over MVG and Phil Taylor over, which I think I have a somewhat long shot going into that one. Andy Hamilton. against Phil
So you
Taylor.
got Andy Hamilton beating James Wade
Yes.
and Kevin Painter beating Simon
Well, Andy
Whitlock.
Hamilton beating James Wade.
Who's this? Who's down here?
Oh, Ian White.
Oh,
James Wade's over here.
so who knocked Wade out then?
Justin Pipe.
Well, that'd be interesting. So your final four is
My final four.
or your
is-
final eight is Justin Pipe, Adrian Lewis, MVG, Dave Chisnell.
yeah.
You have Chisnell coming out of that Clausen match. And who's beating? So you got Yelly Clausen beating who do you have Yelly Clausen beating Van Barneveld?
Sure.
Oh, you're insane. Okay. No. This is not going to be our there's no way on earth that Yelly Clausen is getting
Jeff
by.
Dodson is on my side over here.
Is he really?
You got to see. You got to see the chat
well,
here.
I'm not going to look in the chat. I mean, they've been bashing me all night.
Yeah.
At some point,
Well,
it's
apparently
like I can't take it
he
anymore.
liked my Kellett pick. He liked my.
Well, the Kellett pick was kind of interesting. I mean,
you ripped on it.
Nobody. Well, because nobody likes Paul Nicholson. They want to see him lose.
Oh,
but
okay.
I mean, if you're actually putting money on this thing, I mean, Stuart Kellett's a good player, though.
Well, he's got Clausen over Caven too. So
Does he?
yes,
He might just be telling you.
He
that
could be. You never
because
know.
he's in the pool
'Cause he
and
feels
won-
bad for
He's
me.
like, yeah, take that one, take that one. So it was interesting.
So
Well, Yelly
anyway.
Clausen, the last time I saw him, was playing absolutely terrible. So I can't. A lot of these guys, if you watch the darts online and stuff, you only see the top guys. You don't see floor players like you were asking me about Matt Clark and stuff like that. I mean, you
Right.
don't really see a lot of these guys play very often, so it's difficult to tell unless you really go through the results and you see guys that are like, winning 2 or 3 matches and then, they're out in the quarters all the time. I mean, you know what I mean? Because you don't really get up in the money list until you start making, semis and finals. Top 8's great, but you need a lot of top 8s before because the money doubles every round.
Right.
Right. So it's kind of interesting.
So yeah. So anyway,
Clausen will get by Cave, and I don't know what to say about that. I see somebody in the chat room. I forgot my notes again, even though I promised I would do this rant. So we're going to do that next week. So sorry again.
standard
It's-
operating procedure.
There's a lot of stuff going on. You remember last week on the show, we're going to have to wrap this up, but you remember last week on the show, I talked about, I don't remember what I said about this challenge series and everything, but after the show, I thought about it, and I'm like, I
Right.
like this idea. I think this idea is going to work. So what Dart Talk did, not me personally,
Dart
but the
Talk.
show, we sent out invitations to 31 players to participate in the first round, and we called it the Players Challenge Series, the 2014 Players Challenge Series, where there's no entry fee, and there's going to be a feature match at 16 tournaments in the first half of the year. And I actually put the matchups out there and said, okay, if you're in, let me know. If you're not in and you want to nominate a proxy, you can nominate a
Dart Talk
proxy.
put
but
the matchups
yes,
Not you.
I misspoke. The show did. Me as an employee of the show may
Right.
have done the actual typing, but
True.
it was a show thing. So we actually put out what I thought were some fascinating matches. And so far, the reaction from the players has been utter enthusiasm. So the concept, and we're not going to go public with a lot of the details until the players are all in, and some guys are like traveling and stuff, and I haven't heard back from them, so we probably won't hear until next week. But the idea here is that we're going to try to grow this every year.
Right.
So we sent invites to the 32 players that'll be playing, this year, but then next year we're going to try to get 128 players in. So every tournament, there's going to be like 2 matches to play into the last match, right? So instead of 2
Okay,
players,
right.
we'll have 4. So
Yeah.
it'll be 64 next year. We're going to go up to 64 players next year, and then the year after that, we're going to go up to 128, which is, I think, about the limit. And see if we can't. The idea, and the idea behind this, because some people might have misconstrued it, is it's just a general promotion for darts. Is the way I'm
Right.
looking at it. It's like we're going to focus on one match, and we're going to try to promote it, and at the same time, you can promote the tournament, right? We had George Timpone and Bob Garzone playing, for instance, at the New York, New Jersey Open. Okay, well, we can promote that match. We can promote that tournament. People can come out and see that match. I'm encouraging these guys, go to the tournament, try to play it on the finals board, do it when people are in the room.
Yeah.
Right? If there's streaming available, try to get it streamed. Kind of like the thing we did with Danny Delfino, because that was
Right.
very popular. So it's like, okay, if it's popular,
You're
let's do
expanding on
more
the
of
grudge
it.
match thing.
Yeah, but it isn't
To an
so.
extent.
Yeah, right. It's not really grudge match per se.
No,
but
no,
what
no,
it is
no,
is
but
what
it's-
we're trying to do is identify the matches that
Right.
the
effect-
local people would most want to see.
The effect that the grudge match thing had is
Well, it's a proof of concept that these focusing on individual matches can be popular with the public, and at the same time, it's a chance to see some of these other guys play.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like if Larry Butler and Darren Young are going to win everything, okay, then the finals are going to get to be somewhat dull. So it's at least a way to spice up some of these tournaments. And
Yes,
then at the same
exactly.
time get locals enthused
Right.
about attending the tournament. So what I'm thinking is if you had a nice, tasty match, like I think for Shoot the Moon in Huntsville, Alabama in February, we put Ralph McCool and Scott Wollaston.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are local guys. Ralph lives in Alabama. And, I'm thinking that this is a match that most of the people who attend that tournament would want to see, because most of the people that attend the tournament are from Alabama or Tennessee or, that geographic area,
yeah.
right?
And
So
they
it's
know
like-
these guys.
So
right.
a featured match with two regional players at all of these tournaments, and we're going to keep stats so we can actually cover it like a sport.
Right.
And we can kind of say, get the guys, we'll get them on the show, talk about the match. Hey, what happened? Did you miss a double? Did you
Yeah.
miss 2 doubles? Did you miss 50 doubles? I mean, what happened there, dude? Some of these guys want to talk smack. That's fine. I mean, guys like to joke
Well, sure.
around and stuff. Just keep it
But
funny.
it's a big promotional tool.
That's
for
my
the sport
idea.
of darts.
My idea is just to promote the sport nationwide all year long. And to be honest with you, I'm already getting, there are some guys that are kind of like, I want in. And it's like, okay, well, we're only going to have 32 guys. Some guys are going to get left out this year. So, nothing I can do about it, right? I didn't put myself down, I don't
Right.
think. I have to look. I don't think I did.
I don't think you did either.
No, but there's going to be some great matches. Like in Florida, I had Tim Adams, who's another guy nominated for most outstanding performance. At the Glen Silva, he won every single event, doubles, mixed doubles, singles, every single event he won. Remember we were reading
Yeah,
his name?
right,
off?
yeah.
He's the Army sniper guy.
Right.
He's
I
going
do
to play
remember
Gary
that.
Mawson,
Yeah.
who's the most famous dart player in Florida. Who doesn't want to see that? Right? Stuff like that all the way through the year, I think, is a great way to promote the players and, the sport. So we're going to try to do
I like the
this.
concept.
Yeah, you like the concept? From what everybody likes the concept so far.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to keep it going, and we'll give you guys updates, when we have more info on that. Again, we're waiting for the players that have been invited to accept their invitations. And once they're all accepted, and if a couple of people decline, we'll have to get replacements or what have you. But then we're going to go ahead with it. It's going to be a wonderful thing.
I like it.
You're in, right? You
I
like it? Okay.
Yeah. I like it.
Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. We'll be back next Wednesday with
Yes.
What are we doing next Wednesday? We're going to do Newcomer of the Year next Wednesday.
Right.
We'll do my long promised, now it's 3-week-old rant where I name names and call people out.
Well, we can only hope.
No, I mean,
But we
again,
Yeah.
the problem is I don't
I'm
have
not
my
gonna go with you-
Dropbox
right.
synced with the. Oh, dude,
Yeah.
yeah.
And my
Whatever.
train was late. Yes. I get it.
You got to get in early next week because we're actually gonna try to install a new. We'll do DPNY results next week. We'll cover the men, and hopefully next week we will have the Goofy Cam. That's like a
The
new
Goofy-
a new
okay.
addition. Yeah,
All right.
hopefully since obviously we didn't have time to test it out this week. So anyway, a lot of stuff going on.
We didn't even have time to set it up, let alone test it out.
You are killing me, man. Honestly. I mean, with as much as you get paid for this show, you would think you'd get here early
You would
enough.
think, yeah.
Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. And in the chat room, you can always email your comments and tell us how lousy we did. Just send it to darttalk@gmail.com. If you go to the Ustream channel now and we're off the air, you will hear our most recent show. I made the mistake of looking in the chat room. Also, also you can get the audio podcasts off iTunes, off TuneIn.com, off Stitcher.com. If anybody's looking for links to the show, just send them on the World Wide Web. Have them go to darttalk.us. We have links to everything up there. It's an easy place to find. And, the website is undergoing construction.
Getting there.
Yeah, it's getting there.
It's getting there.
Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. We'll hang around for the after party. So if you're in the chat room, you could stick around. Otherwise, we will Dart Talk to you next week.